As you know, folks, we have an amazing school community here at One Rental at a Time. Well over 600 members, very active forum, thousands of dollars in free education, yada, yada, yada. But what I want to do here is go through the forums and actually take a few questions and let Casey riff on them. How you doing, Casey?
Oh, I'm doing good, Michael. It's a great day. I'm
There you
excited
go.
to be here.
There you go. Yes, yes. So this one first comes from Rick Tavius. Basically, he has an asset with a bunch of equity in it, and he's saying, "Hey guys, when do you do a cash out refi versus take a home equity line of credit?" I know that we have both done these things, but I'm curious, do you have any rules of thumb? When do you do a cash out versus a HELOC, or when you get that question, what do you think?
Sure. I mean, it really depends on why he's doing it. Like, that's the question I'd have back at him is like, why are you doing it? What's the purpose? My guess is that he's using it to buy more
Capital.
properties,
Wants more capital, yeah.
wants more money to buy more properties. But so the next question I have for him is, well, what's his interest rate? When you start with a cash out refi is a whole brand new loan. So a whole new 30-year term. Well, how far into his term is he already with this loan? Is it like a house he's owned forever? I probably would not do a cash out refi. If you're starting to pay more principal than interest and you're kind of in this, you're
The
past
sweet
the
spot.
first part. Yeah. Why start all the way over? Is this your primary residence too? I would care more about wanting to pay that off personally than maybe a rental property, doing a cash out refi for that. So I'm not a fan of cash out refis really, unless they are done quickly and sooner than how do I say this? Sooner in the process of having a loan. I don't want to just keep getting new loans. HELOCs, what I like about the HELOC is that it's like a credit card on the equity of your home. You can use it or not, and when you do a cash out refi, you're getting that check. You're getting a check for that amount. With a HELOC, you might get the HELOC for $100,000 or $200,000 and never use it. And that's cool. No harm, no foul. If you don't use it, you don't pay for it. So I'm a fan of HELOCs for borrowing money. But if you can't pay it back and you can't pay it back quickly, really, HELOCs, in my opinion, are bad debt. It's a great way to get some extra cash. But if you're only relying on your, the rental income from that next property to pay it off, who wants to keep a HELOC for a long time? It's high interest. It is bad debt. So, I would have those questions first for him before I could really give the answer.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. Again, kind of peeling it apart. What's the underlying interest and term left on the first loan? I think that's wise advice. Acknowledging that HELOCs have likely higher interest rates. The other thing that's important, having been through multiple cycles now in nearly 30 years, I don't know if you guys know this, but HELOCs can be closed, right? We get into a tight cycle and, a bank could send you a letter saying we're closing this HELOC in 30 days, or better yet, we closed it already. All right. So what you thought you had access to, you don't. So again, there are some pluses and minuses, but I like how you attacked that one, Casey. Very logical. Here's another one for you. This one's from Hagen. What is your real estate investing superpower? Something I've come to realize talking with lots of millionaires and multimillionaires, it's likely that everyone has their thing that they're uniquely gifted at. It doesn't even feel like work. It comes natural to them. So I'm curious, Casey, do you have a superpower?
Oh, I love that one. I don't think I have a superpower, but if I had to answer the question, which I do, I would say, probably my superpower is not getting caught up in the hype and really sticking to the lane that I'm good at. I mean, I lived through the market crash in California as a real estate agent back in 2008. I started real estate as an agent. That's my license up there in 2007. And I was in my 20s, but I saw people lose everything. I saw them lose $1 million homes and foreclose on all their properties and just like go into depressions. It was crazy. So because I went through that, I can tell you, I am not about to be a high risk person. So my superpower, take it or leave it, love it or hate it, I am sticking to what I know. And it is
brick by brick,
brick by freaking brick. And guess what? Quality. Okay. I am not going to get sidetracked by shiny object, cheap, crappy little houses that are going to cost me headaches and tons of money out of my pocket from things getting stolen and having to constantly renovate and rehab because tenants are trashing my place. I'm going to buy good quality properties in good areas so I don't lose my butt like the colleagues did back in the day.
Love that. Love that. This one's from Frank, right? So you've been in real.
Hey, Frank.
This is from Frank. You've been investing in real
Frank.
estate for, yeah, Frank's amazing. Been investing in real estate for a long time. I'm curious, do you have any deal breakers today that you've learned over time that maybe weren't deal breakers in the beginning? So yeah, do you have any net new deal breakers?
My deal breakers are, you must show proof of income. So a lot of the, losses and issues I've had has been tenant selection, and you can get better tenants by buying in better areas. So when you don't buy in as good areas, your tenant pool is not as good and it's harder to get people. And sometimes you like, well, he's okay. He meets most of the criteria. I got a good gut feeling. He's fine. And then it's never fine. It's never fine. So my deal breakers are, you meet my requirements and that's it. If you can't show me proof of income. Now, I will say the one thing that I do slide on a little bit are servers. So if you get paid in like you get paid mostly tips, I was a server. Like, okay, I can buy that. Where do you work? All that. How long you've been doing it? What's your credit score? All those things. But if you, are if I can't identify with you, honestly, and I don't understand how you're getting paid under the table, and you telling me that that's going to count, it's not going to count. And guess what? No fake letter from an employer saying, Ricky Smith makes this much a week is going to cut it either. I could care less about some fake letter. So, my hard line really is, tenants have to qualify. And if they can't, they can go find somewhere else, and I'll find somebody, and I will wait for somebody who will.
Very, very cool. There's so many I can choose from. Let's do this one. I don't know that I've asked you this in a while. Again, if you were going to be starting over, and let's actually ask this question in two different ways. Okay. One, if we had a time machine, and no, actually not a time machine. You found the fountain in youth and you're 20 today. Right. So it's still 2026, but Casey's not 35, you're 20.
35.
Yeah. Trying to be nice. What would Casey be doing as a 20-year-old? Let's assume you're actually single, no kids as well. Let's change it up entirely. Single, no kids. You're 20 years old. What's Casey doing?
So I'm thinking that I'm amazing. And I'm thinking that I don't have to do, like, what I'm doing is enough. Okay. Today's a great day. What you're doing when you're young is not enough. Okay. Right. Pull your head out of your beehole and get to work. Okay. Do the work. Wake up. Stop hanging out with your friends. Stop thinking you're, what's ice cream, and do more, because whatever it is that you're doing is not enough. When I started in, 2007 being a real estate agent, it was so fun. We would go preview homes and we would talk to clients and we'd go out to lunch and we would go farming, which would mean that you would, knock on doors and put door hangers on and throw notepads and try and get clients. Even my husband, Blake, at the time, we weren't married yet, but he would be like, he's just like, what is she doing? Like, to me, it was work. I mean, I was knocking on doors in the California heat. I was meeting with people and I was talking and I was previewing homes and I was being an A+ agent. That wasn't being enough. You know what I should have been doing? Taking a bigger risk on myself. There was another guy in my office who was my age, maybe a year older, whatever. Maybe you're younger. He was my age, in his 20s. And he started, he joined the brokerage just a year, 2 years, maybe after I did. And here I am beating the streets. You know what this guy does, Michael? He goes out and puts a freaking billboard up. He puts a billboard up. Now, granted, okay, his parents were contractors and he probably had some money, and I couldn't have probably afforded a billboard. But you know what? If I had the confidence then that I have in myself now, I would have put the billboard up. I would have put my picture in all the magazines. I would have gone to knocking on doors when, let's do KPIs. Let's run the math. How many people weren't home? We're not home. They weren't home. Now, out here in Tennessee, they're home because everybody else, only one person works, like it's easier quality of life. California, everybody's working. Nobody's home during the daytime. So I'm wasting time knocking on doors when I could have been going to Chamber of Commerce meetings. I could have been going to where the rich people were and, networking in big groups and looking for associations. No, what was I doing? Not taking myself seriously enough, taking the easy road, having fun and thinking it was enough. It's not enough. So me, then I would be taking a bigger risk, put up the billboard and go all in, because whatever you do when you're young, you think it's enough and it's not.
All right, let's pretend you're 50 for a moment. So another decade from now. Will your kids be out of the house when you're 50 or almost?
I don't think so.
Well, let's just assume they are. It's just you and Blake. Or if it's 52 or 54, whatever. It's you and Blake only. Let's assume you have what you have now, but nothing more, right? 9 units or 10 units.
Yeah.
What does Casey and Blake do, if anything, right? Do you travel the country? Like, what does life look like when you are an empty nester? Have you ever thought about that?
So I tried thinking about it the other day and I was just like laughing, First of all, I'd be really sad because I love my kids. I told them they can never move far from me. Or if they do, then they have to know that I'm coming to visit a lot. But what we'd probably do is we love the outdoors, and we would be, I don't know, I would take that road trip again. Back before we were married, we had this it was a F450. It was a conversion van, and it had a kitchen and a bathroom. It looked like an ice cream truck. Yeah. And Blake and I took 6 weeks road trip in 2008. And we went from California all the way around to the Florida Keys and back. And we boondocked and slept in Walmart parking lots and took showers at truck stops and campgrounds. And we did national parks, and we just was everywhere and looked at everything and did everything. And that was so amazing. And I would do that again. Love that. I love that. Like, we would be traveling. We'd be in the mountains. We'd be hiking. Getting nature.
Nice. All right. Kind of the same question, but this one is interesting to me. And that is, what is your ideal day? And actually, I want you to answer this in 2 different ways, because I think most people should think about this differently. One is, what is your ideal today, right? Your ideal day today, given the variables, the constraints, you're a mom, multiple kids, commitments, all of that. And then, kind of to the earlier point, fast forward a decade, 15 years. What's that ideal day look like? So let's start with today. What's Casey's ideal day today?
I gotta say, I kind of live an ideal day every day.
Good for you.
I am very blessed. Real estate has given me a lot. And so I am living a good life. So my ideal day that we do live is I get to sleep in every morning. And that unless I have like a coaching call or something, right? I get up. But for the most part,
I'm curious. Are you a morning person or an evening person?
I'm a night owl.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, okay. I could stay awake and Blake will fall asleund on the couch at 9:30 for a movie, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm watching the rest by myself.
I'm watching by myself.
Yeah, that's me. I could be awake all night, and I haven't done that in a while. But so my ideal day is wake up to my kids being there with me, and if it's a school year, doing some homeschool, teaching them stuff. Going outside in the garden, mowing my lawn. I like to do that, not in the summer. Actually, I'm having a guy do it this summer because I don't want to do it in the summer. But I like to mow the lawn because I like to be out in the dirt and stuff and feel a sense of accomplishment. And that's my exercise because I hate to exercise. Okay. And, like Blake works from home, again, not for much longer. And I keep saying that, but really. And so just being slow, like life is just, it's easy and slow. And, when I get a call from a tenant, we'll take care of it, but life's pretty good. I'm not really stressed out. We're working on organization and throwing things out and clearing our space, the KonMari way and all those things. So I feel like I live my ideal life. Like, I'm pretty blessed and I'm pretty happy with that. Now, down the road, like you said, no kids in the house. That's the next one.
Let's assume that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the future.
No kids in the house.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Now, right now I have my coaching business and I make my YouTube videos, which I really love. And I always feel like if I didn't do that or I wasn't active doing something, I wouldn't feel fulfilled.
Oh,
Like I have,
agreed. Yes.
like
I've
you,
been
yeah,
there.
like
Yeah.
you don't have to do anything and you do it because you want to do it. Like I just have that entrepreneurial in me. And if I'm not growing inside, like I'm not happy. So
Right.
I think that even when the kids are gone, I will do something to make money. It's always what's next. What's next? That's just me. Blake will be like, I get sit on the couch for the rest of my life. You know, I worked
Mm,
my butt off my whole life. Like
yeah.
I'm
I'm
done. But
good. Yeah.
yeah, I'm good. But you know, he'll do whatever I want. You know,
Right.
but I could see us. You know, we're definitely still do real estate because it's easy. It's addicting. We like it. It's our hobby. I was complaining to my hair lady the other day. You know, I'm so depressed because you know, like I'm like I get bored. Like I have my
Mm,
ideal day, but sometimes like I can be bored, you know. And
mm.
she's like, you need a hobby. I'm like, well, my hobby is buying houses and fixing them up. You know, she's like, you should buy another house. I go, yes, I think you're right.
I think you're right.
So
Yeah.
I think you're right. So yeah, so probably fixing up houses.
Well,
Doing
do you
what
have
I'm
the lake
doing.
house? Because one thing you've been talking about for years now
I know.
is a lake house. Do you see that in your future, or
All
are you
right.
just given up
Well,
on
I
that?
didn't want to say anything because it's not for sure,
Oh,
but we're
knock on.
supposed to close on Monday.
Now, is this the lake house you've been tracking for years,
The
or you?
same one. So
Nice.
next time we
Monday.
do a call, if we have it, we'll talk about it. But I haven't even told my mother-in-law. I've told literally nobody knows except for my husband and my
Except
kids.
my audience now.
Except for now everyone. So shh, my gosh. My mother-in-law will kill me.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's it. I didn't want to jinx it, you know, because
Okay.
we've been in contract several
Wow,
times.
you've been
with
tracking
houses.
this thing for
The same property, yeah, for
folks.
over a year
Again,
now.
I want to. She talked about this. It might have been 2 years ago. She talked about this, and it was just a dream. Like, oh, I found it. Yada yada yada. And then she's been tracking it, and I'm going to look forward to the details because there's a story there. But again, we don't cash checks until we get the check, so we'll wait till it closes.
Yes,
Very
not
cool.
count my chickens.
There you go, Casey. You are amazing. Where can people find you? What's going on with Brick by Brick?
Brick by Brick is doing great, you guys. My God, I have students that are like, this is the hot year to buy houses. So if you are not out there buying, the deals are there, especially in the South. Properties are sitting. The ones in the Midwest, they're flying off the shelves. It's great, but they're flying off the shelves. If you want to buy below asking, the South is where it's at right now. Okay, but otherwise, Brick by Brick Wealth is doing good, and you can find me on YouTube, Brick by Brick Wealth. So
thank you so much. Take care.